Now at 6, the new plan just approved to open thousands of New York City child care centers. The new requirements, the inspections, plus the new push by the president to reopen schools. And a speed bump in the road to recovery in New Jersey as NBC locations were overwhelmed with crowds and chaos on day one of reopening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalie Pasquarella. Chuck has tonight off. Well, it was the first big test of New Jersey's Motor Vehicle Commission reopening. And look at this. Drivers greeted with long lines. Some waited in line for 6 hours or more. Others were turned away. And listen to what made things worse. Sites were split into either vehicle centers or licensing centers. So if you needed to get your driver's license and a plate for your vehicle, that meant 2 long lines. News 4's Linda Baquero is live in Springfield Township with, of course, the frustrations of those drivers out there, Linda.
Lots of frustration indeed, Nat. It is quiet now, though. That's because the office behind me closed at 4:30, leaving plenty of people still in line. Now, a handful, very small handful, stayed behind a few minutes after closing, and they actually got a courtesy appointment card to try to come back tomorrow after waiting 9 hours to get into a motor vehicle office.
Police were called in Newark to keep the peace as patients wore thin. Almost as quickly as motor vehicle offices reopened today in New Jersey after 4 months of shutdown, lines wrapped around for blocks. In Rahway, the office closed after hitting capacity by midday.
I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't know how bad, but this is over the top.
It's been already like 5 hours.
In Springfield Township, the line of hundreds began before dawn, with drivers eager to get titles and new registrations for vehicles sitting idle in driveways for months.
I thought I was going to be the first one to get in line. I came here like around, I say 6:30. And so when I came here, I seen a guy sitting in the front. So I laughed and I asked him, I said, what time you got here? He said 4 o'clock.
The chief administrator for the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission said management personnel were pre-deployed to our busiest agencies beginning at 6 a.m., 2 hours before our start time. And while we understand the frustration, our employees are doing the best they can to keep everyone safe and work as efficiently as possible. This driver offered a suggestion.
Maybe last names, anybody that begins with an A.
It's a long line, but, you know, it's what I expected, you know, because of the pandemic. So, I mean, really, you can't cry with spoiled milk. You just got to just take it as it goes.
Well, you should check if your transaction can be done online. A few can. Otherwise, you can expect more long lines before this opens tomorrow at 8 a.m. And in fact, there's someone who's a little camera shy in the parking lot here right next to me, but he's already here waiting for tomorrow. Reporting live in Springfield, I'm Linda Baquero, News 4 New York. Back to you.
Wow, Linda, for tomorrow. Can't believe that one. Thanks so much for the look there. Well, Montclair High School just postponed its graduation ceremony because of a possible exposure to coronavirus. The school district says this happened at several recent graduation parties. The graduation was set to be held on Thursday, but the superintendent says a new date should be announced by the end of this week.
Back to you.
All right, Dave, we'll talk to you soon. Well, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut have added more states to the quarantine list in the road to recovery as travelers try to visit our area. Delaware, Kansas, Oklahoma, now among that list of 19 states seeing a high number of COVID cases. People from those states will have to quarantine for 14 days if they come into our tri-state area. Just moments ago, we learned that grand juries will resume next month in the city. Jury summonses will be mailed in the coming days. In-person criminal proceedings will expand. And also big news late tonight, 3,000 child care centers will now open on Monday. This impacts up to 150,000 children. News 4's Andrew Siff has been covering this for us. He joins us live in Long Island City with that. And some new concerns also for renters, Andrew.
Right, Natalie, we're outside the city health department here in Long Island City, and it was within the last 2 hours that the commissioners here made it official, the green light for thousands of child care centers to reopen starting on Monday. In a vote by Zoom, the city health department today said yes to reopening thousands of child care centers.
There are changes that they need to make. And we wanted them to be prepared.
Mayor de Blasio today said starting Monday, 3,000 licensed child care centers can reopen.
It's been really tough for parents. So bringing back child care is crucial.
With a maximum 15 children per room, face coverings for staff and children, and daily health screenings.
It means the world because daycare providers, teachers, we are like the second parent to the children that we care for.
Little Noah might start going to daycare, a huge relief for his mom, who's been juggling meetings while looking after her toddler.
I think mentally and physically it'll be less exhausting.
Still unknown what happens with schools in September. The mayor set to announce tomorrow details of a hybrid plan, some in-class learning and some remote.
Whatever the plan is, we're going to follow it.
The governor gets final say, and the president today weighed in as well.
We're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools.
Meanwhile, in the Bronx today, several protests amid growing anxiety that rent protections may expire and trigger evictions.
We have to especially protect the people who need it the most. There's almost 200,000 tenants right now who can't pay their rent.
According to the governor's office, commercial tenants have eviction protection, which is written in through August 20th. We're live in Long Island City. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Today, the Mid-Hudson region started phase 4. Tomorrow, Long Island will follow. Colleges and low-risk arts and entertainment can open. Zoos, botanical gardens can reopen. Professional sports can restart, but without any fans. Gyms, movie theaters, and casinos, though, will remain closed. And we have some really hopeful news to tell you out of Connecticut. For the first time since March, the state had no new COVID deaths. Officials say they had 57 new cases, and the percentage testing positive is below 1%. Very happy to report that to you tonight.